Remember,
the winters are remarkably mild
when you turn up the heat. With AM 1460, WVOX New Rochelle and WVOX Worldwide.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Failing schools should be held accountable, says President Obama, even if that ultimately means closing them. Fox News Radio's Rich Johnson live at the White House.
Well, maybe firing a principal, maybe firing half the teachers. Well, these are among the actions the president says school districts must be ready to take, even the ultimate penalty.
Closing a school for a time and reopening it under new management, or even shutting it down entirely and sending its students to a better school.
Now, on the upside, he wants to spend $900 million federal dollars to help states and school districts rescue those failing schools and to help reverse our high dropout rate. Lisa?
Thanks, Rich. Dozens of people under arrest for looting in Chile as the search for earthquake survivors continues from Saturday's powerful quake. Fox News Radio's Dave Noto, following this from neighboring Colombia, joins us live in Bogota.
Lisa, rescuers found signs of life in a toppled building near the epicenter in Concepcion. They've already saved 25 people there, but dozens remain in the rubble, and it has been tough. Workers have had to stop at times while police fire tear gas at looters in the area. They've stolen all different kinds of things. Most recently, they used bamboo tubes to take gasoline from underground tanks at a gas station. But the government is cracking down. They've sent in the military to help and are imposing nightly curfews to improve the security. Lisa?
Thanks, Dave. Vice President Joe Biden in Florida on the Recovery Act.
We have to make this work. We have to make this work. Too many people are in trouble in this country.
Biden says states will head into the spring construction season with over 12,000 Recovery Act projects funded. Republicans say spending and the deficit are out of control, so much so that a bill including an extension of unemployment benefits is blocked by Kentucky Senator Jim Bunning, who says it would also have added to the deficit. Right now on Wall Street, stocks remain higher, the Dow up about 60 points. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced. If you're like a lot of small business owners, you have all your business info at your desk, which is fine, except for the fact that you're out on jobs, you're getting supplies, you're out getting customers. In fact, the one place you're probably not is at your desk. Well, Intuit QuickBooks Online is made for you. It makes it easy to access invoices, sales records, and customer info from virtually anywhere, even with a compatible mobile device. Intuit QuickBooks Online lets you run your business from wherever you are. Get a 30-day free trial at Intuit.com. That's Intuit.com.
Your older utility tractor's never been worth more. At your John Deere dealer, we're ready to custom make a deal just for you with cash discounts or 0% financing. Get a great deal that puts you on a new John Deere 20 to 140 horsepower utility tractor. See your John Deere dealer today and see why John Deere quality's never been easier to own. Offer ends April 30th, subject to approved credit on John Deere credit installment plans. See dealer for details.
Visit the Hudson River Tractor Company in Goshen.
Search resuming in California for 17-year-old Chelsea King, who went jogging last Thursday and never came home. A convicted sex offender now locked up on suspicion of rape and murder, not cooperating with investigators. Some encouraging news on missing skiers at Maine's Sugarloaf Resort.
The search went on till nearly midnight last night for 4 skiers from 2 separate groups.
They were able to contact the people by cell phone and tell them that the search was suspended, and informed them to hunker down, dig themselves into the snow, and stay warm through the night.
Sugarloaf spokesman Ethan Austin says with 5 feet of snow since Wednesday,
it just looks a little bit different than it normally does, and these people, they went outside of the ski area boundary, and once you get outside of there, getting around is really difficult. There's no roads or anything back there, so you can find yourself lost pretty quickly.
It doesn't appear any of the lost skiers will need serious medical attention. Lori London, Fox News Radio.
A disputed book about the atomic bomb now on hold. The publisher of Last Train from Hiroshima telling AP the author hasn't been able to answer concerns, including whether 2 men mentioned in the book actually existed. More mixed reports on the U.S. economy. Construction spending falling for a 3rd straight month in January.
The size of the dip was actually slightly less than expected. The Commerce Department says private non-residential spending, state and local government, and public construction spending all declined, though spending on private home building jumped 1.3%. In another government report, personal spending rose by more than predicted in January, though a rise in incomes was negligible.
Fox Radio's Chris Barnes. A day after President Obama's doctor suggested he lower his cholesterol,
he's taken it to the streets. Well, the park, anyway. President Obama skipping the motorcade ride back to the White House after a speech this morning, walking back through Lafayette Park instead. The doctor also telling him to try again to quit smoking. No word on how that's going. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
You're listening to 1460 WVOX and WVOX.com, the official stations of New Rock City, the place where you can enjoy a wholesome family entertainment experience. The hottest, most welcoming bar, the in-place in Manhattan these days, is not some anonymous hidden-away spot downtown. It's right smack in the middle of Manhattan. And are you ready for this? It's located in the famous Le Cirque restaurant, America's most celebrated dining venue, right there on East 58th Street between Lexington and 3rd in the dramatic courtyard of the Bloomberg Building. You'll find the happening place in town, Le Cirque's new wine bar. It's elegant, all right. It's also casual with a very sexy, romantic, glamorous atmosphere. No jackets or ties ever required at the bar at Le Cirque, the wonderful new meeting place with a dazzling bar menu from Le Cirque's 3-star kitchen, and all at very reasonable prices. Attractive people of all ages have discovered the Macchioni family's latest midtown hit. Open late every evening except Sunday. It's fancy, but casual and informal and great fun. The bar at Le Cirque at 58th between Lex and 3rd. And take note, the only name you need to get into Le Cirque is your own. So say hello to Serial Macchioni's sons, Marco and Mauro, and try one of their 30 wines by the glass at the hot new Manhattan Inn spot, the bar at Le Cirque, 58th between 3rd and Lex.
Forecast Westchester County in the vicinity for this afternoon. We'll see mostly cloudy, breezy conditions. Highs will climb into the middle 40s. Northwest winds will be gusting to 30. Generally cloudy tonight. A few rain or snow showers possible. Overnight lows near 30. Looks unsettled on Tuesday. Mostly cloudy. A few rain or snow showers shouldn't accumulate as temperatures will be up into the lower 40s. Mostly cloudy. More rain or snow showers on Wednesday. Highs up near 40. Finally clears out. Some sun Thursday. Steve Polidori Jr. reporting for WVOX WVIP Worldwide.
The latest forecast from the 1460 WVOX Weather Center. Brought to you by Entergy and the Indian Point Energy Center. Right for New York.
At Entergy, meeting our region's need for reliable, affordable, and clean electricity is an everyday success story. That's because our Indian Point Energy Center supplies up to 38% of the region's power needs. It also produces some of the least expensive power generated in the region. And most importantly, it does not produce greenhouse gas emissions. That's right, 0 greenhouse gases. This plays a key role in helping this area improve its air quality. So it should come as no surprise that a growing number of environmentalists, including Dr. Patrick Moore, the co-founder of Greenpeace, say nuclear power is a vital tool in the fight against global warming. To learn more, visit us on the web at www.safesecurevital.com. Because the more you know, the more you realize that Indian Point's clean, reliable, and affordable energy is a big part of the climate change solution.
WVOX.
Live from Whitney Media, 1460 WVOX, this is The Rabbi and the Judge, with Rabbi Amiel Wall, the Rabbi Emeritus of Temple Israel of New Rochelle, and the Honorable Judge Sam Fredman. You can join the Rabbi, the Judge, and their guests at 914-636-0110. Now, the Rabbi and the Judge. Here's Rabbi Amiel Wall and the Honorable Judge Sam Fredman.
Hi, how are you doing? What a beautiful day. The sun is shining, it's warmed up, the gigantic piles of snow are melting, and we're listening and speaking on this, one of the most interesting broadcasts every week, our special show, The Rabbi and the Judge. And today in the judge's slot is our Middle East expert, Barbara Fix, and we have with us a special guest, an artist from Argentina, whose name is Laura Murlander, and we welcome Barbara, and always glad to see you, Barbara, and of course, our guest, Laura.
Thank you. Hi, Laura. So wonderful to be with you. I've seen your art exhibited, and hearing your story is just unbelievable. It's something we in America would not believe would happen to anybody. In May 1976, I believe at the age of 19, you, the grandchild of Hungarian-Russian immigrants living in Buenos Aires, was with your boyfriend one evening when you were brutally kidnapped.
That's true.
Your frantic parents were told nothing, and you were taken away. Tell us the story. Who took you away? What happened? What happened in history? Give us some of that background.
Yes. Good morning. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. In 1976, the month of March was a military coup, and from that moment began a terrifying period of disappearance, and many people were taken away and never appeared again. In the night of May 22nd, I was 19 years old, visiting my boyfriend, and in the middle of the night we were taken by a group of civil people. From that moment I was hooded, chained in my feet and hands, and was taken to a place that became not known place because I was hooded for the next 11 days.
You didn't know what happened. So you were taken, you had the hood over you, you were just abducted, your boyfriend was abducted as well.
Yes.
And you were taken away, you were separated from him, you were, as you said, you were hooded, your feet were chained to a bed, to a metal bed, and you had electric torture. It just sounds a really horrific, unexpected thing to happen to a budding artist, a peaceful person, someone just going about her business as a student. So you say for 11 days they tortured you. It was a military junta. Is that had taken over in Argentina? Was it from the Perón government?
No, that was before that. It was after the last Perón government came this dictatorship that began in 1976 and ended in December 1983. And the persecution to many people and disappearance of many people was absolutely random and terrible, and the scares and the wounds in the society still are present today. It's a very close process, no?
There were I'm not sure the numbers, but it is said that there were about 30,000 people who were taken and tortured. Would that be a correct number?
That's probably the numbers. There are not enough proofs for all the names, whatever, but that's the human rights organization are claiming that those are the numbers. Yes.
And you after 11 days of torture, what they called it, disappeared. They used the word disappeared.
Correct.
After 11 days, you were just thrown onto the streets, and it was a mistake.
Yes, I was taken during the night to the street. I thought that I would be killed because after such a terrible treatment and lack of understanding about what was happening to me and lack of any kind of reality, I thought, okay, they are taking me to the street to kill me or something like that. And after a short trip, I was released in the middle of the street. And that night I arrived to my parents' home about 3 a.m. And after a very short meeting, they decided that I have to be taken out of the house and out of the country. Just a few hours after that, I was already in a plane to Tel Aviv.
Right, a very wise decision by your parents, a very painful decision, because they didn't even have much time to enjoy having you back with them to give you some sort of love and affection over a period of time, but they just knew that they needed to get you out of the country.
It's difficult for us to understand how things are in a totalitarian state, because Argentina, of course, has had a history of dictatorships, of non-democratic governments, and we here in the United States are so fortunate that we've never had a tyrannical, totalitarian regime that just does whatever it wants to the people, and the people lose their rights. So to have Laura here, who is a testimony to this kind of treatment, and yet she became a very outstanding artist because of this, and we're here. And of course, if you have a question or a comment as we're talking, you can call us at 914-636-0110, and we are on WVOX worldwide. You can get us at WVOX.com also.
Laura, your art has been an interesting journey for you. You were a budding artist before this kidnapping and torture, but I understand that you went to Israel, and that was the real start of a wonderful career for you. And then you traveled to different places after that. Tell us a little bit about your art, the development of your art career.
Well, after I arrived, first I was in a very weak situation. I arrived to Israel very shocked, confused, and weak, physically weak. And I spent 2 years in a kibbutz. And
were you able to talk about your experiences at that kibbutz?
No, I wasn't able to speak about that until a few years ago. I felt after my arrival to Israel, I began to feel that in this place I am free, and I can begin to think again about life. And after a quite difficult process of healing and beginning to work and beginning to be active, I retouch my sense of drawing, and I began to draw again. And that's how I felt that I can begin to study, and I applied to the Bezalel Academy of Fine Arts in Jerusalem, and I was accepted, and I moved to Jerusalem, where I spent the next 6 years.
All right. So the kibbutz life was a structured life. You were able to work. You shared that you had to take baby steps to really reconstruct your life again, and your psyche and your heart and your soul to rebuild. And we were discussing earlier that you had worked just in routine jobs, working in a factory, working in the kitchen in the kibbutz, in order to try and just get over that horrific trauma that you'd experienced.
Correct. The encounter with such a different reality, I guess that coming from a country that was under dictatorship, and the encounter with a country that was democracy and free country was the perfect frame to develop myself, to be able to begin a process of find my own identity, my own voice, developing my art, and that was the perfect place to be.
The Bezalel has a wonderful reputation for one of the finest art schools in the world. Was it very difficult to get into the school?
It was difficult. It was there were difficult steps and exams and different teams of interviews. And once I was there, the encounter with the art was a second truly magic encounter, because Bezalel was the place where all the possibilities were open. You could work in absolute freedom. You could work with the best professors, the best teachers, the best people from all over the world, and there was an attitude towards experiment with new materials, with new ideas, with new conceptions, with thoughts. We had the visit of foreign artists like Frank Stella, Jim Dine. We were exposed to the most avant-garde ideas and theories and theoretical studies, and all this was so stimulating, so challenging, that this was the real way to confront with all your identities inside and have a true introspective journey.
Right, it was a new beginning for you. I mean, to be with Jim Dine and Frank Stella, what a dream for artists.
Absolutely.
To be amongst the giants of the art world in Israel, and to enable you to really embark on a wonderful career. I know that you use color. That is very important for you, almost in a healing sort of a way. Different colors represented different experiences for you. Is that correct?
That's correct. In the last show I did at the Yeshiva University Museum, that was called From Darkness to Light, there was a conceptual use of color to speak about the disappearance and to show the process from the darkness of my experiences to the light of my experiences. So the different colors, the black series, the red series, the white series, and the blue series, represent different states of consciousness and awareness about different subjects related to life and death, to structural tension between the different experiences, the willing to rebuild myself, the willing for solidity, for structure, and the confrontation between the rational thoughts and the rational understanding of experiences and all the irrational and unexpected things.
Right. So you had different periods: black, red, white, and blue. The black, as you said, was the absence of color and light, reflecting the period of the darkest period of having a hood over your head and just being in the worst possible situation. You also use, besides color, I think you use photography in your work, and is it multimedia that you use?
Correct. I use photography. I was part of the first program in photography that opened in Bezalel in 1980, and photography for me has been a source of concepts and a source for many of the subjects I am investigating till now. And I use photography and use video, works on paper, different media that allow you to experiment with freedom, basically.
And this was a new life for you. It was also a new language, because your background is Spanish, and you go to Israel, and now you have to learn Hebrew, and then you master Hebrew, and then you have a next chapter. You leave Israel. The next phase was your Paris phase. Is that correct?
That's correct. was granted as an Israeli. I was granted the French government grant and accepted at the École des Beaux-Arts, where I spent 1 year doing fresco techniques on wall, the ancient fresco techniques, and other studios practices. And the encounter with Paris was absolutely incredible in terms of the awareness of the weight of history that represents Europe.
Right, you spoke about the fresco on the walls as being a part of history, that they've been doing fresco on those walls for decades and centuries.
Correct.
So you really were part of history. And the École des Beaux-Arts,
École des Beaux-Arts.
Yes, is one of the highest institutions of art in Paris.
Absolutely.
So it's mind-boggling, your talent to go from Bezalel, the best of the finest and of the fine in Israel, to the finest of the fine in Paris, which is really remarkable. How many languages do you speak?
I speak 4 languages. I speak Spanish, English, French, and Hebrew.
Wow. So you've had like 4 different phases of your life almost. And after Paris, where did you go after Paris?
After Paris, since Argentina democracy was just beginning in 1984, I decided to move to other country together with my family, and we moved to Mexico City, where we stayed for 5 years. Also, Mexico was an incredible, different experience, absolutely different from all the experiences I had before. And again, the encounter with such a new dimension of history, with the treatment of space and color that the Mexican culture has, and the monumentality of their conception of space was absolutely magic.
Well, you may, I'm sure now that you've been in these great centers of art, such as Paris and Mexico City and New York, how would you classify each one? Is each one great, or is New York the greatest market for art, or what? Or where would you say today, if an aspiring artist wanted to be dramatically influenced and improved, where would you go? Do you think you've gone the right routing, the right places?
That's a difficult question. New York is not dubbed today a vibrant and incredible center for arts, and I feel here that there is magnificent diversity and energy. I feel myself home in New York, and absolutely is a great place to be. I feel that New York is a kind of new Babel in terms of the mixing of cultures and languages and all the wide possibilities that you meet every day.
You're living now in Buenos Aires?
Yes, I live in Buenos Aires and spend several months a year in New York too.
Right, so you have painted in New York. Is the color different? Is there different inspiration painting here?
Well, you know, an artist is always exposed to influences, and of course everything leaves a mark. And I think that in one hand I straighten my ideas and my subjects and conceptions about art, and in the other hand you are open to a lot of new languages that enrich yourself.
Well, we're going to take a break now, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with our special guests, Laura Murlander and Barbara Fix, our Middle East expert.